So, one of the moderators from the anti-work Reddit group went on the Jesse Waters show on Fox News, which is a new primetime show that I strongly recommend everyone check out. Jesse Waters is so awesome. And by so awesome, I mean Jesse Waters is the embodiment of everything I hate about America. Like everything I hate about America distilled into one human being is Jesse Waters. And so he interviewed a woman named Doreen Ford, who is, like I said, one of the admins on this anti-work Reddit group, which is kind of similar in nature to the No One Wants to Work Facebook group. Although this one, because Reddit is such a huge platform for things like this, skyrocketed to a membership of 1.6 million people. It had been around for years, but in recent months, membership just absolutely spiked. And so now there's over 1.5 million people in this group. And Doreen Ford, her name is, went on the Jesse Waters show, who, of course, this was, as Fox News always does to any sort of liberal or left or certainly an anti-work organization, it's a trap. Since this interview aired, the group has sort of had to change its membership from public to private because they've gotten a lot of trolls. And look, the interview did not go well for them. And so we are going to play the whole thing. It's only about 3 minutes long. And so we'll take a look at it right now, and then we'll talk a little bit about this.
Over 1.6 million subscribers. Joining me now is the person who operates this anti-work group, Doreen Ford. All right, so Doreen, why do you like the idea of being home, not working, but still getting paid by corporate America?
Yeah, so there's some misconceptions about the movement. So we're a movement where we want to reduce the amount of work that people feel like they're forced to do. And so we want to still put in effort, we want to put in labor, but we don't want to necessarily be in a position where we feel trapped. You just quoted from Office Space, where that person feels very trapped in their job. I think we're calling for a society where there's less of that. But yeah, absolutely, people still want to do things. They just want to do things where they feel rewarded and they feel like they're in a good spot in their life, and that their job respects them and stuff like that. There's varying.
So Doreen, you're not being forced to work. This isn't slave labor. You've applied for a job. You've agreed to the terms and conditions of the employment, and you can walk away from that job at any time and quit. So I don't understand really what this is about, except it sounds like maybe people are just being lazy. Are you encouraging?
But he just described exactly what it's about. Like what Jesse Waters just described is exactly what the people are doing. So this guy, this guy is just, I'm sorry. I mean, Lauren is watching, so she's going to get angry because I'm going to profile him here. But this guy is like a Norman Bates, Ferris Bueller mashup, right? I mean, doesn't he look like that? This guy looks like, he's in New York. A lot of our listeners are in New York.
I mean, all these Fox white guys have an American Psycho vibe.
Yeah, but none like this guy. This is just a fratty, bro-y piece of shit. Like if you are, he's in New York City. I know a lot of our listeners are in New York. If you're at a bar and you see this guy, all I'm saying is if you're a woman, make sure you cover that drink up and keep your eye on that drink. Because I'm sorry, call me a profiler all you fucking want.
I don't understand really what this is about, except it sounds like maybe people are just being lazy. Are you encouraging people to be lazy?
So I think laziness is a virtue in a society where people constantly want you to be productive 24/7, and it's good to have rest. That doesn't mean you should be resting all the time or not putting effort into things that you care about. But I think one of the
what do you think is like a good work day? How many hours is a solid work day in your ideal society?
Sure. I mean, I think as much as people want. I mean, I personally work. I have like a 25 hour work weeks, which I think is fairly good. So I would like less work hours.
And what do you do, Doreen?
I'm a dog walker.
A dog walker. Okay.
Yes.
And how
So
how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Sure, I'm 30.
You're 30. Okay. And is there something you want to do besides being a dog walker? Do you aspire to do anything more than dog walking, or is that kind of your pinnacle?
I love working with dogs. If I had to do this for the rest of my life, I wouldn't be super complaining. Dogs are wonderful animals. But I would love to teach. I would love to, work with people and stuff like that.
What would you teach, Doreen?
Philosophy mostly. Just introduction to philosophy, critical thinking, reason, stuff like that.
Okay. Well, I would love to take your class, Doreen. I would just be taking notes the whole time. And you know what? A professor's a very similar schedule than something that you're imagining. So I think that actually might work perfectly for you. Listen, I think this might not be the greatest idea, but who am I to judge? To each their own, they say. It's a free country.
Sure.
Not everything's free, but it is a free country. Thank you so much. Sure. We got to run. We got to pay the bills.
All right. So there's that clip. Now, first, I mean, look, people complain sometimes we don't beat up on the right wingers. What kind of pig takes pleasure in watching this piece of garbage just like bully and mock a person who is obviously, and this is where you have to kind of wonder what's going on with the anti-work, because look, you're going on Fox News here. This is a huge show. You're representing 1.6 million people. A person like that, no disrespect to her at all. She's not ready for prime time. You got no lights on in the apartment. She couldn't make eye contact. I mean, I mean this I don't mean to make fun of her at all. Like, she's
swiveling the chair back and forth.
Swiveling the chair. She's a nervous, awkward person. She doesn't play well. That's not someone you send out there to represent a group of 1.6 million people. But just what kind of a piece of shit you have to be to like take pleasure in watching him just give that shitbag smile about mocking. Oh, well, what do you do? Oh, you walk dogs. Oh, you want to teach philosophy? Well, I would love to take your philosophy class. Look, her answer about like laziness being a virtue. I mean, look, I don't think that's all wrong. There's the great Carlin line, show me a guy who's home on the couch playing with his pecker all day, and I'll show you a guy who's not causing any fucking problems, so there's that. But look, that's not the best line to deliver on a primetime news show. Everything else she said, like, if she were able to defend herself, if she were a more forceful person, a more confident speaker, which, it's not her fault. She's not. This is not what she does. She's a moderator of an online forum. She like her answer, like, yeah, you know what? Like, if I just walk dogs for the rest of my life, I'd kind of be happy with that. And he asked her, don't you aspire, puts his fist, don't you aspire to being anything more? And that's the real heart of the anti-work and the no one wants to work thing and the great resignation thing is like, no, people are done aspiring because people know that no matter what they aspire to be, it just never works out. So they'll work their 20, 25 hours a week if they can get by on that and live hand to mouth, and have a lousy little basement apartment somewhere. But like, they're not bent on aspiring and striving. Basically, this is a generation and a movement within a generation, I suppose, that's basically given up on this like American dream myth that they've been sold because they realize it's not available to them. And so they're not going to take the second job as an Uber driver or an overnight, shelf stocker at a grocery store. They're going to walk the dogs. They're going to get a little money, take what they can, live hand to mouth, and that's it. And just kind of take it easy and enjoy the simple things in life rather than, striving to be more. Right. And so that's, I think, the real essence of the anti-work thing, which she did articulate there. And it's just a shame she wasn't able to like more forcefully defend that against this like total archetypical just sleazebag.
Yeah, well, I didn't even get, it wasn't even clear to me if she really had available to her a full philosophical articulation of
Right.
the movement.
Well, that's the other thing. Like,
you can very easily, you can start talking about Europe, where people have not worked all of these hours and they have a much higher quality of life. And we're not talking about eliminating work entirely. What we're talking about is having a better work-life balance. And yes, you could really make all the points that you're making here. So what do we get out of it? The American dream has been stolen. So there's no carrot at the end of that stick. So why is the donkey going to keep running?
Right.
Why are we going to keep doing it? And really, if you really had balls, if you really had confidence, you could shove it right up that guy's ass. Look, you supported this system.
Right. Exactly.
You support you little creeps like you have been out here rah-rahing capitalism and everyone's got to work all the time and let all the money get funneled to the top, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, well, now there's no more money for us down here, and now we don't want to work anymore. Okay, you got the world you wanted. Now shut the fuck up. But she was not the person to deliver that speech.
Well, the thing is, they don't quite have the world they wanted anymore. They had it for a period of time while the workers were desperate enough to keep the machines running and keep the shelves stocked at the grocery stores and stuff like that. And now that that's not the case anymore, it's a very inconvenient for a lot of people, including a lot of working class people. I mean, I've talked about how, like I was doing an Instacart run this afternoon. And it was like 35 items. It should have taken me 45 minutes and I should have been out of there and got paid. And it took forever because everywhere you go, it's an empty shelf. And oh my God, you can't fucking find anything. It's brutal. It's hard. But, look, I mean,
they took your last piece of chicken.
I know they took
the communists took your chicken.
The vermin stole the chicken. You know what? I haven't been able to find anywhere nutritional yeast. There's a nutritional yeast shortage. Every supermarket you go, none of them have it. Every time I see nutritional yeast on the order, I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna be a fucked up one. I shouldn't have accepted this one. Edward, you had unmuted a minute ago. Did you want to chime in?
Yeah, I just I wanted to say, like, I watched Rachel Maddow there during the week. Like, it's the same thing. It's just hit pieces that are 10 minutes long that just focus in and they just want to make
all
something
about
of it.
Joe
Like,
Rogan.
yeah, it's just, I can't stand it. Like, even the BBC, I just can't even read the BBC anymore. I try and just watch objective stuff like Deutsche Welle or like France 24. It's so hard to watch American content anymore. It's ridiculous.
Well, you're talking about Rogan, right? You're not talking about hit pieces on the and the anti-work thing, right?
Yeah, well, I think it ties into that a bit. Like, it's like Jesse Waters was never going to let him talk about like what he actually wanted to say. Jesse Waters only wanted to have him on for 5 minutes and just paint a picture for the people at home and just get him off screen. Like,
I think it's a woman, actually. Her name is Doreen Ford. Yeah. I actually made that mistake the first time I watched it too, because her voice sounded a little bit deep. See, we're gonna get really fucked for talking about talking like this, but I did think her voice sounded more like a man.
I'm pretty sure she's trans.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I'd be surprised if not. I could be wrong, but
see, we're speculating. We're taking all kinds of chances here. But the thing is,
born to be wild.
She didn't even seem aware of the fact that this was a hostile interview. Like, she seemed very innocent going in. Like, she didn't even, like, you're on Fox News. This is the most notoriously right-wing trash network, you know what I mean, of all time, basically. That's like mainstream. Of course, you got the real, One America News and the, Newsmax and stuff like that.
And you're being interviewed by the guy that the Von Trapps were hiding from.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, this was obviously a setup. And so, like she didn't seem ready for a fight. She seemed, and he's such a piece of shit that he didn't even have the courage to confront her seriously. He kind of kept this sort of like almost like Ali G act going, where he was kind of pretending.
He just mocked her,
pretending to take her seriously with this like smirk on his face, knowing that the audience would be in on the joke, right? but didn't really have the balls to like actually try and confront her. And so, you know, it just, yeah, I mean, that was just one of those things where, you know, I like I said, I wish they had somebody who was a little bit more ready, because friend of our show, Joey Holtz, actually put out a little video challenging Jesse Waters. Hey, bring me on for 5 minutes. I'll go toe to toe with you, because Joey Holtz could shred him for 5 minutes. You know, I mean, yeah, that would be no contest, and that would be he would be a great representative for that whole movement to go on Fox News. You know, and that could be, I mean, that would be a great clip. You know, that would be
this has got to be really tough for her, though. Like, you know, she's not a public figure, man. You know?
Oh no, of course. And look,
she's, I'm sure, getting it from all sides now. It's got to just be a horrible experience for someone like that.
Yeah, I mean, and so like I do, like I said, I don't mean to be mean about it. You know, it's like, you know, she strikes me as a very nice person, very innocent, you know, very like well-meaning, sincere person who just didn't realize what she was getting herself into with Fox News and Jesse Waters on a primetime show. And she was kind of like taking his barbs at face value, not like genuinely not understanding like this. Like you said, this is the biggest piece of shit on a network that is known for its pieces of shit. And so John, who is in the comment thread, who I've not seen you here before, John, welcome, thank you for commenting. Is there a level of aggression assumed to be needed in professing an idea? I mean, on Fox News, I would say yeah. Like if you get invited to a segment like that where you know this is going to be 5 minutes in and out, you know that they are dead set against what you stand for, I would say, yeah, you got to go into that guns blazing and not even let them talk. There are some Fox segments where they'll just throw to a guest and the guest will rant for 3 minutes and then that'll be it. That'll be all the time that they have. And so to me, that's the approach you have to take going into that.
That's what I'm saying. Like you could have come out of that a hero.
Right.
You put the right person on there.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe wherever you saw it, on YouTube, on Rumble, or on Facebook. We have channels on all 3 of those platforms. Also, consider helping us create more content by becoming a member at patreon.com/do-dissidents, or on Facebook, where you can become a supporter right through our Facebook page and get bonus content every week, as well as call-in access to our live stream shows. Thank you very much for your continued support.